Hello, this is Chapter 5 of The Cat Who Wanted to Go Home, and it's called The Wettest Way. The next morning Auntie Jo opened her newspaper, and there was a photograph of Susie water skiing. "Well, so that's what you were up to yesterday, Pussycat," she said. "No wonder you were so wet. I think you'd better stay at home today." But when Auntie Jo wheeled out her tricycle, Susie popped into the basket as usual. "Chez moi," she said to Auntie Jo, beseeching her with her big green eyes. "Oh, come on then," Auntie Jo said. So they pedalled along the seafront to the shops. A lady and her husband recognised Susie. "Why, surely that's the little cat who was water skiing yesterday," they said. "So she belongs to you, does she, Auntie Jo?" "She's a stray," Auntie Jo said. "I'm just feeding her." "Well, she's a very good swimmer," said the lady. "Yes," said her husband. "Let's hope she doesn't get any ideas because of what's happening today." "What is happening?" asked Auntie Jo. "There's a swimmer attempting to cross the channel. That's a very long way for a small cat." "Did you hear that, Pussycat?" said Auntie Jo. "No channel swimming." But I'm afraid Susie didn't understand, and when Auntie Jo parked her tricycle, she popped out of the basket as usual and ran down to the water's edge. She was looking for boats, of course. There was one small boat, and beside it was a great big fat man. It was the channel swimmer. Somebody was smearing him all over with greasy stuff to keep him warm during his long swim. Susie wasn't very interested in all this until he heard somebody say, "Well, good luck, Jim. Let's hope you get to France." France! Was he really going to France? So it was hardly surprising that when the man had been swimming for a few minutes, he found there was a little cat swimming beside him. The man was swimming very slowly and steadily, because he had to go a long way, but even so it was a bit fast for Susie, who was having to paddle madly to keep up with him. Clearly she wouldn't be able to do this for very long. "Go home," grunted the man. Susie didn't understand him, and anyway, going home was what she was doing. "What did you say, Jim?" said his wife, who was going along in the boat to see if he was all right. "Company," said Jim. "Look." His wife thought he meant sharks or something. "Good heavens, where?" she said. "Cat," said Jim. "Cat?" Jim's wife peered through the waves. Then she saw Susie. Susie was holding her head as high as he could, with her ears folded down to keep out the water. Jim's wife did laugh. "You look like a mother duck and its baby, Jim," she said. "Shall I pick her up?" "Leave her," said Jim. "She's doing fine. I like having her." And so Susie swam the channel for a bit. But she began to get very tired, and she was afraid of being left behind, and the man had to keep waiting for her to catch up. "Maisie, pick her up," Jim said. "She's slowing me down." Susie felt herself being scooped out of the water. "Chez moi!" she wailed furiously. She ran to the edge of the boat, dived in, and started swimming again. Jim nearly choked. It was very difficult to laugh when you're swimming. Maisie scooped up Susie once again, and this time she trapped her under the lobster pot at the bottom of the boat. "She seems to be as silly as wanting to swim the channel as you are," Maisie said. Susie didn't like the lobster pot, but she was so exhausted that she hadn't the energy to fight it for long. She lay down in salt. "That's better," Maisie said. "You're much too small to swim such a long way. You stay here with me." She took her out and dried her and wrapped her in a warm towel, keeping a firm hold on her. It dawned on Susie at last that the boat was following the swimmer. So she was going to France, and really it was much easier to go there sitting on Maisie's lap than swimming. She settled down happily. "You're making good time, Jim," called Maisie. "We should catch the tide." But she spoke too soon. The wind started to get up and the sea got rougher and rougher. Jim found it more and more difficult to move forward. In the end it got so bad he was hardly moving at all, and Maisie had to turn off the boat's engine to stay with him. The boat began to be tossed about too, as the waves got bigger and bigger, and Maisie put Susie back under the lobster pot to keep her safe. Jim struggled on for a bit, but it was no good. He would have missed the tide now anyway. Susie couldn't believe it when she saw him being helped into the boat, and when the boat turned round and headed back for England, it was the last straw. "Chez moi!" she cried, heartbroken. "Chez moi!" I'm sorry, Pussycat, said Jim. I thought you were going to bring me luck, but it seems I was wrong. Never mind, I'll try again tomorrow. Susie only knew she wasn't going home to France. Chez moi. There, she's telling me she's sorry, said Jim. He put on a thick sweater and some trousers and had a cup of coffee. Now that the engine was full on, the boat wasn't tossing nearly so much, so Jim took Susie out of the lobster pot and she rowed the rest of the way back to England on his lap. He made a great fuss of her. She had plenty of guts, this little one, he said to Maisie. Maybe she couldn't swim the Channel, but I bet she could swim the Thames. I can see it now in the Guinness Book of Records. First cat to swim the Thames in a record-breaking time of 5 minutes. How about that, Pussycat? He stroked Susie's ears. Susie purred and then fell fast asleep. When she woke up, they were back at the pier. Hard luck, Jim, people were saying. Are you going to try again? Tomorrow if the weather's kind, he said. I think I'll take my lucky cat with me. He looked round. Oh, where is she? Susie had slipped away in the crowd and run home to Auntie Jo. Pussycat, Pussycat, where have you been? Said Biff. Swimming for the Channel by the look of her, Auntie Jo said. Oh, Pussycat, you are a shocker. Shocker, said Biff. Shocker, clever Biff. Auntie Jo dried Susie again and gave her a dinner, a piece of chicken. Susie ate it all up. It wasn't fish, but it was very good. Merci, she said, cleaning her whiskers. Merci, said Biff. Shocker. And Susie purred. But she did miss Gaby stroking her the wrong way.